You could ask a consultant. You could hire a research firm. You could even build another dashboard. But if you really want to know what life in senior living is like, you ask the people who actually live it. From the horse's mouth. Real talk, real residents. Let's go.
Now give it up for your host, Mr. Jack Young.
Those are things that people under 45 will have no idea mean anything. All right, this is certainly an honor for me to be here. Michael, I'm supposed to be sitting here. I'm going to walk a little bit. I am going to tell two serious stories. I know so many people here, and I'm so grateful to so many people, but I want to talk to you a little bit about what it's like. In 1999, I'm a Silicon Valley sales VP. Jump off a cliff to start IN2L. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I have no idea what I'm doing. The first 2 weeks of the company, two things happened that taught me this is going to be a different kind of gig. The first was a community, the Christian Living Campus. At that time, it was all that Verna will be speaking to in a couple of minutes. They had a grant available. Both these stories have grant money available. But the residents had to be interested in what I was talking about. And imagine this was actually year 2000, that you're talking about computers to 80 and 90-year-olds in the year 2000. And I said, has anybody here ever used a computer before? The guy raised his hand. I'm feeling good. Has anybody ever used the internet before? The guy raised his hand. Has anybody ever sent an email to someone? The guy raised his hand. I am so excited. I'm bringing this guy up on stage. What was called then an activity director whispers in my ear, whatever I say, he's going to raise his hand. So then it's 3 days later, seriously, 3 days later, I got a call about another grant in Pueblo. For those of you in Colorado, it's about an hour and a half drive. I get down there, again, I know nothing about senior living. Walking into a nursing home, meeting an administrator, I don't even know what the word administrator meant. I guess he was the guy that ran the place. I walk in the door and there's a beautiful older woman sitting there saying, can I get outside? Sure. So I sit down to talk with the administrator, and all these alarms start going off. In the back of my head, I thought, maybe this is me. And so I joined the community, walking through the neighborhood, trying to find the lady, and I didn't get the grant. But it has been an absolute joy of what my life has been like the last 26 years. I know Katie's here somewhere. She can relate to this. I didn't really know what Glassdoor ratings meant, but we had a Glassdoor rating that said, working at IN2L is great if you want to be working for a frat house. And somebody had to explain to me that that was an insult. This is, what more could I ask for? But, well, I don't know where, is Bob Kramer floating around here somewhere? Yeah, this is, watching you, and then Steve after that, I don't know if Steve's in here as well, but what you're going to see today speaks exactly to what you're talking about, Bob, and that is reframing aging through the eyes of the people that live it. So I am honored. I'll read the quick bio that's in the back of the stretch. Our first bio is going to be for just an absolutely brilliant woman. Are you ready? Are you ready, Verna, to come on stage? We have a video. We have a video that's not the greatest of quality, but you'll get a sense of who Verna is through the video. So I am going to roll this baby. And you know what? To hell with the bio. Verna is a badass resident at the Christian Living Communities that is the hippie of our residents today. She is the hippie, and here we go.
Let us do away with stigma, with quality of life. All older persons can experience joy, health, and a sense of fulfillment. Therefore, I do support a UN Convention for the Rights of Older Persons. Thank you.
All right, Verna. So you are an icon in the CLC world. Many of you know Jill Vitale. She is such a good friend of mine and is terrified of me being responsible of Verna without her being here. But talk a little bit about, we had this conversation last night, and that was that this is the best time of your life,
Woo-hoo.
and how you were telling that to somebody who didn't believe it.
I'm flying, Jack. I'm flying. Yeah.
So what was that? What was the? It was somebody that you've been interviewed.
We work with Anschutz Medical in Denver, and they have a program where you work with pre-med students. And I worked with this young man, and he said to me, oh, the reason we work with them is A, many have never met an older person, and B, many do not know how to have a conversation because they've been wrapped up in this digital world. So we teach him how to speak to people, and it's a great program. Anyway, he says to me, what was the best time in your life? Past tense. And I said, you know, I've had a really good life, but this right now is the best time. I'm loving it. And he began laughing. I mean, just hysterical. It's like, no, really, what was the best time? And I'm like, he's not getting this, you know? And it was hilarious because I kept repeating. But the sad thing was he had nothing in his education that helped him understand what I was trying to say, that an old lady could feel that kind of joy. And that, I'm like, we have to change that.
So what is it? What is it about this time in your life that is just making you rock?
Look at this, you know? I mean, I am with these people engaged in exchange of ideas and innovation. I mean, who wouldn't rock, you know? And then I go home and that conversation continues in my community, and my leadership and team members look to me as a colleague, you know, with respect. It's like, whoa. And I told you about the two different experiences I had and why this is so important to me now. And that is, can I mention that? Is that okay?
This is your interview. You can do whatever the hell you want to do. This is the Verna show right now.
I'm loving it. Okay. I retired many years ago, and at that time, there was only provider-directed facilities. I used that purposely. And so a provider bought or created a building and a structure and the rules and regs. And so when they said you will sit here and you will sit next to this person, then you accommodated them. And that worked for a while, and then my doctor stepped in and said, girl, you are out of here. This is not healthy for you or any living creature, and you are going down. And I thought, well, where do I go? There's nothing else. And some wise person said, Claremont, Jill Vitale Awesome is doing wild and crazy things. I said, okay, let's go over.
Well, she talks a lot about and you've been on podcasts, you've been a lot of speaking about the CLC citizenship model.
Yeah.
How do you explain it?
I explain it. When I went there, it was a little bit like The Wizard of Oz, where the film goes from black and white to Technicolor, and that empowerment, that transformation in my life, I like that. I mean, so when you go to Claremont, they say to you, tell me about your gifts. Tell me how we can help you be the best that you can be. And how would you like to contribute to our community? that's, some people are already out the door at that point. It's like, I want my golf cart. It's like, and that's made all the difference in my life. Within a short time, I was teaching, I was initiating innovative programming, leadership and team members went with me around the country to present, and eventually I went abroad on my own and interacted with the international community. Whoa, Jack, think about what that does to a human being. From you will sit there to go girl, you're in Scotland.
So there's a whole bunch of providers out here.
Yeah.
And from what I've experienced the last 5 years of interviewing so many people, it's a lot of times the communities market amenities, and you talk to the residents that are content, and they don't say anything about amenities. They talk about the relationship. So what would you say to providers about how could they market to make you want to move into their community?
When new people come in, I always go to them and say, why are you here? And they all say, I walked in the door and that was it. People were running, laughing. We've got snails in the lobby. There's just, it's fun. They can see their minds are excited, their being is excited, and I am a zealot. I apologize for this. I've been there 11 years, and I am a fussy duck, and I love it. I love it. They give you your dignity. They give you, we say purpose and meaning till we're nauseous, but it's real when it's real. And that's why Jill, I think, drags me into podcasts and things, because she's saying, okay, enough of the graphs and the language and the conceptual models. Tell us what's real. You're there 24/7. What is happening there? What are the issues?
All right, that is awesome, Verna, and I don't think anybody gives you your dignity. You earn your dignity, and you got it. So let's hear it for Verna. All right, now we got to pay some bills around here, so we got a quick commercial before we bring up our next guest. Many of you have been seeing what I've been doing over the last year.
Capture the stories of your residents. Who will? What are you waiting for?
It's my honor to bring up, we had our hippie, now we're bringing up our thrill seeker, and part of what TaleGate loves to do is documentaries, and MBK has been a good partner of ours doing these documentaries, and we're going to show a little trailer about your next guest. And it all comes down, again, back to Bob Kramer, and Steve, you were talking about this too, the let people take risks. So here is our risk taker.
I think I'm the same person that's just grown up. I've always been a bit adventuresome, wanting to try new, different things. I've just been trying to do whatever sounds interesting to me. Well, when I do these adventures, I try and find out about them, research what's gonna happen, what's going on. The water, the regulator, seeing the sharks and the sawfish down, and the turtle kind of coming by and flapping its arm. Fantastic. Well, I do have a kind of a short bucket list, and skydiving was on it. And MBK made it happen. Fran made it happen. I was flying like a bird. I've always thought, ooh, wouldn't it be great to be up in the air and soar around? I did it. Oh my God.
Have a seat.
Thank
in the hot seat. So we started this project with MBK, and we had no idea who would be our star. And once we met Julie, we know who our star was. So when did this whole risk-taking, was that from a kid, being a kid?
I believe so. I went to a really good daycare. That's pretty kiddish. 4, 5, 6 years old. And they took us to places to see how things worked. We went to the Mint, the Denver Mint, a bread factory to see how all our bread was, cookie factory. So it got me interested in what's out there. What's behind door number 3, you know?
And so you did it.
And so I did it, and I guess I've just been doing that.
So your whole life have you been a risk taker?
Well, I was kind of responsible for a while. I had a son and a family. So the risks were not as great, but I guess I didn't really think of them as risks. They were just a new adventure, something.
Yeah, no, jumping into the middle of a Shark Tank, who would think that? I mean, come on. So,
the Shark Tank wasn't scary. I got to tell you, the worst thing, there was a bad thing about the Shark Tank, and that was taking off a full wetsuit. Oh my word. Somebody holding me by my arms, somebody having the wetsuit and pulling it off of me.
So
wait. I didn't show you my shirt. It's the Adventurers Club. I'm a member.
So why do you think people stop taking risks as they get older?
I don't know why they stop. Too scary. Problems with health or immobility, or I still take a risk. Walking across the street.
Yeah, that's what it
during the day.
Well, and so, it was, I don't know where Fran is sitting out there, but Fran has been such a good friend of mine for decades now. And you talk about it, you said in the video, and you talked about it consistently when we interviewed you, about how there's a culture at MBK, and I think a lot of it's driven by Fran at your own community. So what is it? What about that culture lets risk-taking be a part of the day-to-day life?
Fran is so interested in us and about us and wanting to help us and please us. One of our activities directors said one day, how about asking Julie if she wants to go rock climbing? I'd never thought about rock climbing before, just on a wall inside. You got a harness and all that, and up to the top and ring the bell. She made that happen. She made the skydiving happen. I just mentioned, oh, that's on my bucket list. And she made it happen.
No, but that's such a relevant message for me, because when I plan these visits, the 100-year-olds, they're about 20% of the communities say we ran this by our legal team and it's just too much risk. And I get it for the people that have seen me drive, but usually people haven't seen me drive, and it's just a culture that right away they're going to the legal. And I get it. I don't mean to be dismissive of lawsuits and such, but it looks clearly there's a way to mitigate that from a organizational standpoint, and you're living proof of that.
I am. And then she thought of ways, okay, residents want to do this thing, but there are other residents that are not as able to do that. How can we modify that activity or that thing to meet the needs of all the people there?
So what's a bucket list item left for you? What's your next risk?
I only have one bucket list, and I don't think it's risky, except I'm trying to talk Fran into financing it for me. I want to go and see the northern lights, sitting in a hot tub, looking up at all of them. And there's a gal from Newfoundland here.
Well, Aubrey's out here somewhere. Aubrey's my partner in crime at TaleGate, and what we're telling vendors to do is get creative with how you spend money. Sponsor a trip like this.
Really?
And we film it. You get all kinds of publicity. Anybody want to fund Julie's trip?
I'll come and speak for you.
Yeah.
I love it. I can't see you, but I love it.
No, but it really is. I think you're such an epitome, and again, I just keep going back to what Bob was saying this morning, that it's just a life without risk is not worth shit, you know. And there can be such a bubble. Let's bubble wrap ourselves and be totally secure. And what kind of life is that? And you're living proof of that, Julie. So thank you for being the risk taker you are, and let's hear it for Julie.
Thank you.
All right, and so we have another commercial.
This commercial is sponsored by the Influence Group.
Marty, are you there? Listen to me, this is important. There's a gateway opening into the future. The year is 2025. This isn't just any gathering, Marty, this is SLIV. It's where senior living's future is being written. AI, innovation, all of it, it's getting spilled. These people aren't just talking about what's next, they're building it, and you need to be there. This is your shot to get ahead of what's coming. So write this down, SLIF, October 26th to 28th, Huntington Beach, be there.
So anyway, our last guest, I'm super bummed she couldn't be here, and ironically, it's her son's health that became an issue. But about a year and a half ago, Aubrey and I were doing a documentary for Arrow Senior Living about love in senior living, a really cool project. And we met this woman that in 1948, her uncle introduced her to, he was in Sicily, Italy, and he introduced her to a pen pal that didn't speak a word of English. They spent a year and a half writing letters back and forth. And she wanted to go to Italy. Her dad wouldn't let her. She finally turns 21 and just goes by herself in 1950. And so last summer, at the age of 95, we took her back to recreate that story. And here's the clip of it.
I just can't imagine going myself. I wouldn't have nerve to do it.
She is feisty, 95 years old, and that little lady, she is the most bull-headed, stubborn person I have ever seen in my life.
She's like no other 95-year-old woman I've met.
You don't always have to be the Energizer Bunny.
Everybody loves her, and she loves everybody back.
I will miss her terribly when she goes to Italy.
She apparently moved to Italy in 1950. That's 74 years ago, to meet her future husband, and we're very happy and proud to be a part of this recreation. We hope this trip brings you very fond memories. Thank you.
21 years old, didn't speak Italian, didn't know anybody there.
Okay. Long time no see, huh?
Well, you're
I'm 95.
so wonderful.
I'm 95.
I know.
Yeah.
We just got along beautifully. He was such a good man.
I walked down the sidewalk and cried all the way. Because my dad wasn't here.
I couldn't have asked for anything better. We were married 70 years. I had a happy life with 6 children, and he treated me wonderful. I talk to him every night. I talk to his picture every night.
Okay, Benny, you're going to be going to Italy, to Costa Vetrano, where you were born. And I'm leaving tomorrow. And I will see your nephews and nieces. And I'm looking forward to it.
When she was walking down the aisle, and it was so emotional, and they had a bust of the priest that had married her, that had been the priest in this little Sicilian church and the reason that she went was because we asked her to. It's just asking. People want to do stuff. So as you two see that and you think about, and I love again the framing of aging that Bob was doing. I mean, this is, for you, Julie, it's what, 20 some years out. So you can have 14 trips before that. But as far as wishes, I mean, just kind of the still having dreams and still having wishes, just if you both just give a quick answer about that, about how important it is to not lose that and be in an environment where those dreams, it doesn't have to be going to Sicily, it could just be seeing a grandson that you haven't seen. What's the culture that makes that happen?
You know their story, you know their life, you know what makes their face light up, you know the person, and that's the difference. Northern Lights, next trip.
Yeah, I know. I'm waiting for Fran's email on Monday about the Northern Lights trip. So
This is like a global wish. That we could all just love each other and be kind to each other and have peace in our hearts for each other. Forever.
All right. That's awesome. All right, you guys are great. We have the next guest is, I'm going to tee this off a little bit with, I'm going to show a clip. I'm going to have to leave for a second just from an emotional standpoint when I see this, but it's a clip that really speaks to just the philosophy of what I've having my own dreams come true. And it's been a dream of mine. Many of you know the story. My daughter is an American Idol contestant. She is such a good singer. She's so talented. And it's always been kind of a family argument over did that come from her mom or from her dad. And I'm thinking this next video.
You never know, sometimes in life, you know, you think of your career as being a straight and narrow path, and sometimes stuff happens that's not what you thought. So I'm here in Missouri with a kangaroo, a goat, and a monkey, and I'm living life to the fullest. Vintage Voices Tour. Over and out. Where's my monkey buddy? All right, it's Bruce Springsteen. A monkey, a goat, and a kangaroo. The Utah desert. I pick up my money and head back into town. Driving across the Waynesboro County line. I got the radio on and I'm just killing time. If loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right.
Our last guest, get on stage. Kelly Walker put this monkey, Mia, who I have an abnormally strong relationship with, and drove with her husband Justin, who's here somewhere, from Missouri to be a part of the show. And so we're just going to sit here and have a little interview. This is Mia, and that's Maverick. So the obvious question is, what is it like? How does one start an exotic animal business?
Oh, lots of patience.
Like, what's your house like?
Well, let's just say we pay the bills and we live in their home. Yeah.
Yeah, because Mia's been a really good, come on this way, Mia. We want to stay away from curtains. I will say, if anybody rents an Airbnb and it says pet friendly, watch out if people might take advantage of what the definition of pet friendly means, but that's a different discussion. So how did you get into it? How did you get into the whole exotic animals?
So my husband was raised with the exotic animals, and our children are finally old enough that we can venture into them and afford taking care of them.
And so how many animals do you have?
We have about 65 different exotic animals.
Like what you know?
So we have 5 of the monkeys.
Do you know all their birthdays?
No.
Okay.
I do good to remember the few I've got to remember, like the actual human children that belong to me. So we have these guys, we have ringtail lemurs, we have deer, we have camels. What else do we have, guys? We have a couple different breeds of African cats, not the big cats. I'm not going full Tiger King, guys. And then some deer, emus, ostriches, stuff like that.
Yeah, So I think we wanted to have. So we wanted to tie in a little bit of audience participation.
Okay.
And kind of tie this into a SLIF, kind of a SLIF context. And so it's our honor to bring the CEO of LifeLoop, Rob Fisher, up on stage. And so Kelly, you're gonna have to give your seat up and then do your other, get Rob ready for the next adventure.
Yep.
All right, well.
So Rob has a little idea of what's going on, but not a total idea.
All right, this is living with risk. Jack says, hey, I'm gonna call you up on stage. I'm not gonna tell you what's happening. So this is happening.
Well, I think we don't want to be showing any favoritism against kangaroos.
She's hungry.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Feisty, and she lives by the name.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
So we're just gonna.
So this has been a minute. I have 4 children. I have no kangaroos. But I assume
I'm gonna sit
my youngest is 13, though. We're not doing bottles at 13.
So Rob, talk a little bit about you haven't been in the senior industry though for a long time, and you've had a great pedigree in healthcare. So what is it like? What has it been like for you being a part of senior living?
No burping. Okay.
You're looking at me. You're looking at me.
So I've been in senior living for about a year and 2 months. Healthcare, as you said before that, in healthcare I never fed a kangaroo. I can tell you that much. It's an interesting time to be in this market, like in this moment.
So what about, we talk a little bit about what LifeLoop is doing from AI. I mean, you got some good things going on.
We do. Oh boy.
Oh, Mia, I'm sorry, Mia. Come on, we're good.
Yeah, so,
it's okay.
Jack, do I have your attention?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay, great. So we're doing quite a bit with the AI, of course. We do not look at AI as a disruptor, but a connector. We might be done with this bottle here in a moment.
Good boy. Okay, keep talking.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm not distracted at all.
Yeah, there's no distractions.
Yeah, but we're taking what you started many, many years ago from an engagement standpoint, and we are moving into the world of Of wellness.
Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah. No, sorry.
Going. Yeah.
I feel like I need a burper. Speaking of wellness, geez. We are moving into the world of wellness, Jack, and we are using engagement as an enabler of wellness and accomplishing the dimensions of wellness with our different communities. And using the unique data that we have on resident to resident to satisfy their needs for wellness and focusing on purpose. Yes.
Yeah, no, you're doing a good job with that. So
Great.
what do you see? Do you see AI as more of an opportunity or is there a threat?
It's absolutely an opportunity. It's an opportunity across the board for any industry, any role. As they say, it's not AI that's going to take your job. It's somebody that understands how to leverage AI that will take your job.
Do you think there's any concerns, perhaps kangaroos? Are they,
we have, when we do a SWOT analysis on the business, kangaroos and monkeys have not been a part of that.
Yeah,
I
think that this is, we're looking for innovation. Well, Mia, let's try one more thing, because we were doing this last night in my room. Well, I'll just keep walking. So, I won't talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, he took it a little PG-13.
So does anybody have any questions about, I'll just say one wrap-up comment, and then we'll give questions. And that is that, like I said before, it's about these ladies here. It's about like I said, I've interviewed so many people, so many 100-year-olds that are the reason, especially the 100-year-olds that fought in World War II. They're the reason that we can all play golf yesterday. They're the reason that we can be living this incredible life. And what a country to live in to be able to make that happen. And so through all this shenanigans, through all this insanity, I look around this room at the Shelley Wisnowskis and the Charles Turners and the Steve Lindsays and the people that were such a part of IN2L over the years. And I just got to say, it's kind of she's so okay. So anyway, does anybody have any questions for the monkey? Come on, Mia. Come on, Mia. Yeah. There we go.
Okay.
You're
This
on the
is a day of
ledge.
my life, by the way.
I think this. I would think this discussion lends itself to some questions.
Oh, don't mind me.
Reunited, and it feels so good. All right. Any questions for Julie?
Do we have a question? All right, we got a question over here.
Yeah. Hey, Jack. Yeah, it's Charles. Hey, a question we're all asking. What's wrong with you?
I'm taking a page out of Julie. I'm living my best life. You got a problem with that, Charles?
Where's the lemur, Jack?
The lemur had an issue. Kelly can speak to that. But the lemur had kind of issues with the monkey.
They're wild animals. So they're unpredictable, and we just have to. Well, that's why they get along so well. But yeah, so we just kind of have to let them do their thing, and typically that's exactly what they do. But they're being good sports today.
The question I forgot to ask you was how cool the animals interact with older adults.
It's actually surprisingly very well. They choose the older ones over most of the children, so they like the wiser ones.
So while we're trying to support businesses starting, Kelly and Justin are trying to build their business of bringing animals to senior living communities, and obviously there's no issues involved with it.
Jack, I got to say on behalf of, I think, everybody here, and it seems like everybody knows you, you're at least half crazy. At least. But you are 100% heart. And seriously, we're all very, very fortunate to know you.
I don't know who was it. There's a poet that says, take what you do very seriously, but don't take yourself that seriously. Yes. And it has been, I've been so serious that no one may believe about the importance of when we first started IN2L, how you'd look at activity programming and people that were welders and teachers and lawyers and doctors were treated like 10-year-olds. Mm-hmm. And so I'm certainly honored that we were a part of kind of helping move that needle of there's a better way. And it is wild for me to see, as we look around at and Michael, you can speak to this, just over the last 10, 15 years, the difference of the vendor base. Shelley, you and I were talking about that last night, that all of a sudden engagement matters, and it's really cool. It's really cool. And I am, for me personally, and not to get too much bromance. Yeah, too much bromance going, but I really, it's hard when you start a company when changes happen to different people, and you were bringing the culture back to the company that was part of what made it different. So it's cool having you running the ship. So
the frat house.
Enough of that, Darby. Yeah, the frat house. Yeah, you don't need to take it.
We're not a frat house, no.
I'll go back to the channel we have. It's called Vintage Voices 100, and there's tens of thousands of followers and millions of views, and everything we're doing is just elevating aging. There's not one clip we've had that's condescending. It's a little bit of wisdom, it's a little bit of history, it's a little bit of joy, a little bit of fun, but none of it is making fun of older adults. And I think that I think the numbers speak to that on the channel.
Verna and Julie, I wonder, this is Bob Kramer.
Hi, Bob.
But I wanted to ask the two of you, what was the reaction from your friends at Claremont, Verna, and Julie at the MPK community where you live, to the fact that you were coming to speak on a panel at the Senior Living Innovation Forum? What kinds of comments did you get, or tell them this, or you go girl, or what kinds of comments did you each get?
Kind of.
Go ahead.
I don't know that I said I was going to a senior living conference, and there are top-notch people there who are speaking about senior living, and I'm not sure why Jack invited me.
Because for you.
Tell us all about it when you get back. They are interested in what's happening.
I've been doing this for 11 years, so they're used to it. But I'm going to tell you, Bob, since it's you asking the question, I listened to you 11 years ago as a novice, and I've moved on from there, and I'm still listening to you and your wisdom, so thank you.
All right, that's awesome. All right, I guess that's it, Michael. Anything else on your end?
No, I'm over here, Jack. Again, thank you to Verna and Julie for joining us. And give it up for the animals.